What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Talk. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hensey, joined today by the man, Brian DeGennaro. How we doing today, Brian?
I'm excellent, Pat. How are you?
Listen, I can't complain. I do want to talk about Joey Gallo today, maybe if he could be a good fit for the Yankees moving forward. However, before we get into that trade scenario, everyone be sure, like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. Like I always say, we're going live before and after every single Yankees game this season, so stay tuned for that content. But back to Joey Gallo. Listen, he's that guy who I feel like the Yankees have been linked to him for years. Like even if we go back to, I believe, 2016, when there was kind of trade rumors between the Yankees and Rangers regarding either Andrew Miller or Roldis Chapman.
Yeah.
I feel like the Yankees were definitely showing interest in Joey Gallo at the time, who at the time was a top prospect. And now since then, I feel like every offseason we kind of hear swirls about that. But now I think it could possibly become a reality. You look at the Yankees outfield depth. It's brutal. We talked about this yesterday with Estevan Florial and maybe how he could be that guy for the Yankees. But if they want to go with a more solidified option as far as an outfield bat who's a left-handed hitter, I think Joey Gallo could be a solid option. Also, especially considering that the Rangers aren't that good and they're not going to really be in the playoff hunt at all this year, it's very possible they could look to trade him.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's definitely a possibility. It's not something that I would necessarily be opposed to. I think there are better options out there. But it is, it's definitely a good possibility. You look at a guy like Gallo. We've talked about him before. He's sort of a similar player to Judge. Not as good as Judge, obviously, but like a similar type of player. Good defender, power hitter, strikes out a lot, walks a lot, right?
Yeah.
The difference between the two is that Judge hits for average a lot better than Gallo does. So you got to, obviously Judge is the better player there. But for that reason, I don't know that he necessarily fits this lineup that well. This lineup has a lot of power hitters, a lot of strikeout hitters. And I think we could use someone more like Andrew Benintendi, a guy who's, hits more for average, is more of a contact hitter. But that being said, I don't think Gallo is necessarily a bad option. Like you just mentioned, the outfield depth is miserable right now, so he'd be an improvement over just about everybody in that lineup.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the key. I mean, like you mentioned, the Yankees outfield depth is so brutal right now. While Joey Gallo might not be my number one pick because I do think maybe a contact focus left-handed outfielder might be a better idea, I still think we can't deny how much fun it would be to see Joey Gallo in the Bronx. We're talking about a dude who, if he's fully healthy for the majority of the season, that's an easy 40 home runs. In Yankee Stadium, that's probably an easy 45 to 50. You know that. Because his last full season was in 2018, where he played 148 games, hit 40 home runs, batted 206 with a 312 on base and an 810 OPS. Not bad numbers. Obviously, I guess the old school fans would like to see that batting average a little bit higher. But still, I mean, I think if the Yankees could insert that into the middle of their lineup, especially if Hicks is going to be missing significant time, you can't complain about that whatsoever. I mean, also, I think maybe if the Yankees acquire him, they would be banking on he could kind of match that 2019 peak that we saw out of him, because after 2018, he only played 70 games in 2019 due to injury. But listen, like, his numbers were ridiculous. He batted 253. You like that, Brian? You like to see that batting average a little bit higher. But his on-base percentage was 389, which gave him a 986 OPS.
That's nuts.
Unreal. The dude had 22 home runs in 70 games. So I think if the Yankees did acquire him, they would kind of be looking for him to spark that magic once again that we saw from him in 2019. And I don't think it's too ludicrous to say.
No, and it's a really good option. I mean, like, we're splitting hairs here when we're talking about.
No,
this,
yeah,
right? We're not going to turn down Joey Gallo, but yeah, it's so tempting because to put a lefty power bat into that lineup in Yankee Stadium. I mean, that's something that we haven't had for a while, really, since, I don't know, I guess Teixeira really was the last sort of left-handed hitting power hitter, and he was a switch hitter.
Fair, unless you want to say like Didi Gregorius, but I wouldn't really call him like really a power hitter.
Though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's so tempting to have that, and obviously putting that in the lineup is going to rejuvenate them tremendously.
Easily.
I just think that there's probably a better option out there, someone who would be more of a contact hitter, because I feel like that's what the lineup needs, is more of that balance. But again, I'm not complaining if we were to get Joey Gallo. Like, that's a great
It's a
option.
fair argument. It's a very fair argument. But at the same time, what other outfield option is going to give you the defensive
That's fair.
The platinum defense that Joey Gallo is going to give you out there, and
That's
not
fair.
only with his glove but with his arm as well. We're talking about one of the best defensive outfielders in the league.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that the Yankees would maybe be cautious about is he doesn't really have too much time in left field. I think the majority of time he's with Texas. He looks like he's in right field. He does have left field appearances
Yeah.
under his belt. It's actually odd because he's played just about every position with the Rangers. I'm kind of looking at his like defensive stats. He's played third, first, left, center, right. He plays just about anywhere. I doubt we'll see the Yankees put him at third if they did trade for him. But
You never
kind of
know.
going back to the whole trade idea of it, right?
Mhm.
Because obviously we're just coming up with rumors here that maybe he would be a good fit, just based on years past and whatnot, and the Yankees' current needs. But let's
Yeah.
just say hypothetically, the Rangers are like, sure, we're willing to deal him, and the Yankees are showing interest. What do you think like a potential package would be?
Well, how much does he left? How much longer does he have left on his contract? Is he up this year,
It
or is
it looks like he's going to be a free agent 2023.
so one more year? So it's this year and
Yeah.
another year. Yeah, I'd probably take a decent amount. I think that might take someone like Debbie really
Would you
to
do it?
headline that. It's tempting, man. It's really tempting. I don't know if I'd give up Debbie only because after this year, it's kind of hard to say what the rotation's going to look like. Kluber and Tyone are both done with their contract after this year. I don't know if they're going to bring either of them back, especially with Tyone struggling as much as he has. So to have a guy like Debbie in your back pocket is going to be key going forward. That being said, we always fault the Yankees for not going all in at the trade deadline, and this is a perfect opportunity, right? I mean, we're in a position this year. The window's closing, so I think at the end of the day, you probably would have to pull the trigger on that one.
Listen, let me ask you a question though.
Tell me,
Would you include Clint Frazier in that deal? Because I'm
Clint
assuming that
and
you would have.
Debbie.
I don't know if maybe you center the piece around Clint instead of Devi. Because here's my theory. If you trade for Joey Gallo, he's going to be your starting left fielder.
Right.
And he hasn't really played much there in the past few years, like as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to earlier in his career. But I still think he would be a solid fit there. And I guess as good as Clint is defensively and left, Joey Gallo would be a huge upgrade. Even if he's not the same guy he is in right field.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you still have to do it because then what are you going to do with Clint?
Davey and Clint though.
No, but what I'm saying is like you
If you
probably
could,
don't have to include Davey.
okay, if you could headline it around Clint, then yes,
You would
then
do it?
absolutely. Then I think that's a no-brainer personally because as high as we were on Clint before the season, he hasn't really shown us anything this year, and Gallo is a clear upgrade at this point. Plus, you have another year of control over him, and then seeing as depending on how he does, you could end up re-signing him. So I think you got to pull the trigger there. I
It's
think
fair.
that's a no-brainer.
I mean, I think the only thing that kind of like piques my interest about this whole trade scenario here is kind of imagining a Yankees lineup that has Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Joey Gallo. Now, obviously, we know like
Luke
the home
Voigt.
run, strikeout, walk, like it's not really like
Yeah.
the prime path to win a World Series, I guess. But
Yeah.
still, like it would be so much fun to watch those guys just slug nonstop. Especially in the Bronx, Joey Gallo would be in it. He might hit one onto the train tracks. No joke. No joke. Love to see that. But
That'd be
I don't know.
awesome.
I guess we'll have to wait and see if it does happen. The trade deadline is just about 2 months away at this point. Kind of
We're
crazy
getting
to
there.
think about. But yeah, we'll see. But that is going to wrap things up for today. Maybe Joey Gallo does become a Yankee. I don't know. But everyone be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. Like I always say, we're going live before and after every single Yankees game this season. Stay tuned for that content. But everyone, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Peace.